Okay, back with another video. This is the Suncast BMS2500 storage shed, and this is put together. Obviously, I'm going to go ahead and I have another one over here ready to put together. So I'm going to show you how to do it step by step, best I could figure out. There are a lot of things in the instructions that aren't clear that you'll find on other people on YouTube complaining about, such as that right there. It doesn't kind of tell you how to put that in correctly. And you want to get a good solid base if you can. Mine's on brick. A lot of people are saying wood works too, a wood pallet or whatever. But yeah, the instructions are not real clear. They're okay, but like things like the hinges here, those are very difficult to put in. You gotta, and I did this by myself. I know it says you need 2 people. You don't necessarily need 2 people. The hinges on the back, they don't go in perfectly either. These hinges here, and then there's an extra piece. It says a support bracket, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out where it went on there pursuant to the instructions. It's just sitting over there because this is all secure anyway and closes, and it's got a little lock latch and everything. So let's go ahead and I'll start putting together the other one to kind of show you the step-by-step process so that at least you can kind of figure out how it works. So this is again one of the major things that it just tells you to put it in there. It doesn't tell you how far, but obviously you need to put it in where it'll stay open. And then, when you want to close it, it'll close. So, yeah, let's put it together and run through it. Okay, here we are with our pieces. The first step is to find the bottom piece. And it has the logo up, so it'll say Suncast. As you can see, that's going to be facing up, and that's the front. So I'm going to smooth this out a little bit, and we'll put it down there and level it out. Okay, so the next step after you create your bottom there is to get section B, side B right here, you can see, left side B. And you're gonna wanna hook this into those little grooves right there. So this is the bottom because this part is gonna go in that little notch right there. So I'm just gonna flip it upside down. And it says you can use a hammer or whatever to get it in there, but I found that I just slid it in there and then just shoved it back myself just with my hand. So I'll do that and get it in place. Okay, I've got a little plant to lean it up against because I'm doing this by myself, but now we're gonna just do section C. Okay, so they're labeled on the inside there. You can see section C, okay? And these little grooves right here are gonna hook into that back side. And then this little part down at the bottom, you'll just have to kind of push those into place. And I just kind of use my body weight to push it down in there. But first slide them into that. And then pop it down there. Okay, next step is side E, and this is going to go this way. You can see this is where that little bar right there is going to come down and hold the lid up. So you want to, when you put the bar in there, to make sure you go not too far all the way down, just to that second little section right there of plastic, so it holds up. Anyway, you put this in similarly. You just go ahead and slide it on there, pop the little notch in right there. And then you're going to attach the other back plate, and then you'll screw them together. Okay, so far it's all been pretty easy. And then we're going to go ahead and slide this last back part in. You'll just want to lean that out, slide it in, and then again, I use my body weight and just pop it out, walk on there, and just pop it in. Then you got some screws there you'll fill in. And then the hard part will start, where we have to put these hinges on, and you'll see that can prove difficult, but we'll give it a shot. All right, so I was able to do that. I slid it in. That middle part was a little bit warped. This one was a little bit warped out that way, so I had to come on the outside and push it to slide it in. You'll see the groove slide in. So we're gonna screw these guys in real quick, and then we're gonna work on the hinges on these front doors here. All right, the next step is to put the front doors on, and you'll wanna get these hinges out of here. And then you're gonna need these screws here, okay? Because they will screw through that part there into into that back part right there, okay? It's hard to see right there. But the key is to do this, you gotta put those on first, and then when you're popping it on here to stay, you really gotta get behind this little ridge right here, okay? If you don't get it popped behind that ridge, they're just gonna come right out, so you really gotta work to do that. Okay, so how you put these hinges on is that you see this little opening right here, okay? You need to put it at the front like this and slide it up, okay? And then turn it like that. And then you gotta pop that side into that other side of the groove I was talking about over here. And this is the hard part, the hardest part I had. Again, it really needs to get right in there, pop in there, and then you tighten it with these 2 bolts. Okay, so I just took them and I, kind of pushed my door into it kind of at an angle, popped them in there, and then I had to wiggle them around to make them go. So now we're gonna tighten these guys. This can prove difficult, to have patience here. And I just do it with a normal Phillips head screwdriver rather than a drill I did on the other screws. Okay, it's supposed to go through there and come out right there very easily. But you're gonna run into this, I guarantee it, one that won't. And so you gotta like pull it out and see if it'll even start. And this one won't start because it's just not drilled right. The quality's not very great. And so this is very frustrating. I actually had to get a wrench, you know, pliers, I meant, to turn it that way to even get started. So this is very, very difficult to do, and it's bad design. All right, so this is the second hinge I've tried with a bolt, and it won't even get started. You can't even get it to go started. So I mean, they expect you to get it on here and tighten it up, but their design is so poor that you can't even get a bolt started. So I'm gonna have to see what I can come up with, because this just isn't gonna hold. Okay, so I finally got these to go, and what I did is I just took the door with the hinge off, and I just forced it together, pushed it together with a drill until it actually forced its way to go through. Then I backed it out and put it on. It's still hard as heck. I just don't understand why they make it so difficult, but on to the next step. There was another step before, it was to put this in while the door before it was hinged, but it's really simple. You just pop it in, and then you slide this thing up in there, and then you push your finger real hard, and it'll pop into place. That's what's going to keep the door locked on the bottom. Okay, so this next step is what had me kind of confused. They have this assembly roof, and it says support bracket, but I really can't for the life of me figure out, and I couldn't find anything on YouTube, how this is supposed to go on here. So if somebody knows, they can tell me, but I didn't really need it for my other one, but I really can't tell how it goes. I mean, the instructions are terrible, and so I've just left it off. And so I just move on to the next step, which is to put this little middle piece in here, right, this guy, and it goes in right here, because that's gonna be a lock. It's easy. It says it snaps, it doesn't snap. And then it says to put a screw in here, and of course there's no pre-drilled screw or anything, so you just gotta do it yourself. So this needs some improvement, obviously, but this is what we're gonna follow for the instructions. All right, next step, this is the back of the roof, is to put these little brackets on, and they just go in right there. You know, do the same thing on the opposite side. So there, we just drilled it in. We're gonna do the same thing on the opposite side, down the lower part, and then we'll be putting this little plastic hinges and those little hoops right there, putting them together, popping the roof down, and then affixing the hinges with screws on those sides. And then we'll put our little bar in. All right, the next step was to put these guys on, and so they don't really stay together that well. I don't know why we don't screw them together or whatever, but you can see one slides up underneath, the other slides up through, kind of supposed to pop them together, and then there's the other one. And then these holes on the roof, these are supposed to slide in there and pop in there. I didn't hear a pop. I had to bang it with a hammer mallet earlier on the first try. Another thing I noticed on this one is that these are kind of indented, and these were like up on top. So that's new. That wasn't like that on the other roof. So that's probably a malfunction in the factory. So I just put them on there, and I hit it down with my hand, and you can see that it makes a little mark there on both, but you know, it's still okay. And you want to make sure that these things are slid into right here. So we'll go ahead and screw these in, just 2 screws. I don't know why they give you this hole. Maybe it's a shelf support for something else, but just the top 2 screws. Okay, so the next step is to put this little bar in place, and in the instructions, of course, it doesn't tell you how far to put it in here or anything. You know, you don't want to go too high because when you turn it, you know, you'd never be able to close it, or too low. But you know, it's almost self-explanatory, but I noticed on the other one I was having trouble. Anyway, then you'll close the lid down. See that little groove right there? It's going to pop in there, and then there's a bracket that you'll secure it in place with. All right, there you have it. That was the last step. Like I said, there's this little bracket you put in place right here, okay, and you gotta press this in there so it'll stick up in there. So that when you go close it, it'll slide down and close like that. And then you've got your doors here that'll close. I've got a little bit of dirt in my way right here, so I'm gonna have to dig it out a little bit, but just for this purpose, we got a little bit of lube on the lid here. You can see that pops into place right in there. And we'll do the same thing for this guy. And so you see this thing is supposed to be able to, you know, pop through here, and then you can lock it if you want. But let's face it, this is plastic. If someone wants to really get in there, they're gonna be able to do that. But anyway, it goes up, pops down through that hole, and then you can do the foot lock down there we did before, and it won't open. So yeah, would I recommend it? I don't know. It seems kind of chintzy for the price, to be honest with you. And it's really difficult to put together. And again, I still don't know what that bar is for. I have no idea. So open it up. Our little thing gets stuck every time. So, you know, it's kind of useless. You got to literally walk it up over here. So it's kind of difficult. You know, like I said, it's just plastic. You know, it's not, you know, I think I paid $300 for each one of these. I don't know if it's worth it, to be honest with you, but just to give you an idea of size. So let's see, I have a shovel right here. And I'd have to weigh it. You know, that's just what's standing like that. So I think it's only 4 foot high. So we're just going to store outdoor stuff in here that's, you know, not really valuable. So it's going to work for that purpose. And so we've got another one over here. So I got 2 of them. And I'll post a link below, although they're out of stock a lot of places. I had to get this from Ace Hardware. So if you have any questions, please ask in the comments below. And as always, subscribe for more videos.